It's time for bingo, everyone. It is time once again to get your crayon or your marker and your bingo card. You've got the instructions on the back, but real quick, let's go through them. Make sure that you circle the ones that show up, that get called, that are on your card. You have to go across or diagonal and get all of B and I and N and G and O. And once you get B-I-N-G-O, if you are one of the few fortunate people to have a winning card, then you need to post a picture of that on Instagram and use the hashtag musiclessonsinAbox in order to get the points for your winning card. But if you post your winning card super late, then there might not be any points left. So make sure that you play right away and that you post it as soon as you have a winning card. I think that's it. Did I miss anything, Kendra?
I don't think so.
Okay, good luck.
The bottom line on the bass clef is always going to be a G. That's a quarter note, which is worth 1. This whole note is worth 4 beats. Eight VA means you're supposed to play it 1 octave or 8 notes higher. The spaces of the bass clef spell the word ace, A-C-E. This is the second one up, which means it's the C of ace. This counts as a D in the treble or the bass clef. This note is on the space above the treble clef, making it a G. This is the great, the amazing Bach. That rest looks like an upside down hat, which means it's a whole rest, worth 4. If 2 of the same notes have a swoopy line over or below them, that means they're tied together. You're only supposed to play the first one and just hold it out through the second one. This is the first ledger line below the treble clef, which makes it the all-important middle C. Since the spaces of the treble clef spell the word face, F-A-C-E, this one is on the bottom, which makes it the F of face. 3 is the value of any dotted half note or dotted half rest. It looks like fine, but it's pronounced fine, and it means it's the end, the finish.
A decrescendo looks like a sideways V going from the big end to the little end, showing you that you should have a lot of sound going to a little sound.
8 VB means you're supposed to play that section 1 octave or 8 notes lower. The second line up in the bass clef is always going to be a B. This counts as an E in the treble clef or the bass clef. This is the great composer, Scott Joplin, sometimes classified as a classical composer, but usually classified as a jazz composer. Mezzo piano means kinda softly because mezzo means kinda and piano means softly. Staccato is a dot above or below a note, and it just tells you that you're supposed to disconnect that note from the other ones around. Don't hold it out a long time. The third space up on the bass clef is always going to be an E because the spaces spell the word ace, A-C-E. This is the third one, it's an E. Forte means play it loudly. The spaces of the treble clef spell the word face, F-A-C-E, and this is the third one up, so it is the C. An accidental is any flat or sharp or natural sign, anything telling you to play something different than what is normal for the song. An accent looks like a little V on its side above or below a note, and it just means to punch that one a little bit harder, make it a little bit louder. Tenuto means to hold the note for the full value, maybe a little bit longer. 4/4 time is the time signature where we can have up to 4 quarter notes in each measure. This is a bass clef sign, also known as an F clef. It is the graph for all of the lower notes. Accelerando means to gradually get faster. A repeat sign is 2 dots stacked on top of each other that tell you to go back and play it all again. This counts as a B in the treble or the bass clef. That's an 8th note, which is worth 1/2. This dotted quarter rest is worth 1.5 beats. This is on the first little ledger line above the bass clef, which means this is middle C. That note is on a space below the treble clef, which makes it a D. The time signature is what tells us how many beats are in each measure and what kind of note we're counting with. There's the granddaddy of them all, Louis Armstrong. That is the incredible jazz pianist Bill Evans. One and a half is the value of any dotted quarter note or dotted quarter rest. That's a quarter note, which is worth 1. Pianissimo means really quiet, and it usually has 2 P's in a row. 1 P is quiet, 2 P's is pianissimo, really quiet. The one, the only, Mr. Beethoven. You get to mark it off if you have an F in the bass clef or the treble clef. This counts if you've got a C in the treble clef or in the bass clef. This half note is worth 2 beats. This rest only has 1 notch or 1 flag on it, which means that it's an 8th rest worth 1/2. It looks like a top hat, but it's actually a half rest and it's worth 2 beats. The 4th line on the treble clef is always going to be a D. The 2nd line up in the treble clef is always going to be a G. BPM stands for beats per minute, and it's the tempo marking for any metronome. This is a quarter rest and it's worth 1. Mezzo forte means kinda loud, because mezzo means kinda and forte means loud. This counts as an A in the treble clef or the bass clef. The third line up on the treble clef is always a B. Any quarter note or quarter rest is worth 1 beat. A repetition is any part of a song or solo where you're just repeating some little group of notes.
That's it for us. Hopefully you were a winner. If so, then make sure you post that on Instagram with the hashtag Music Lessons in a Box, and you pick up your points. And if you were not a winner this time around, that's all right. You know what? Honestly, just by playing, you got a little bit better at playing music and reading music. So that was cool. And also, there's always next month. We'll send you a brand new card, probably a winning card. And hopefully you'll win that one next month. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye.